Beautiful chapter, but we got to understand this chapter with the quietness of our mind. It's a lot of philosophy in there. Okay, so let's start with the mantras so that we can concentrate beautifully. Om Parthaye Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayan Swayam Vyasen Gratitam Puran Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritvarshini Bhagavati Mashtadashadhyayani Am Tvam Anusandhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini Namo Astote Vyasa Vishal Buddhe Pul Arvind Ayat Patra Netar येन तव्या भारत तैल पूर्णा प्रज्वलितो ज्ञान मया प्रदीपः परपान्न पारी जाताये तोत्र वेत्र एक पाने ज्ञान मुद्राए कृष्णाय गीता अमृत दुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोगदा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो वत्सा सुधीर भोगता दुग्धम गीता अमृतम महत वसुदेव सुतम देवम कंस चानूरमर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णम वंदे जगत गुरुम भीष्म द्रोण तटा जयद्रथ जला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्य ग्राहवती कृपेन वहने कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधन अवर्तने सोतीर्णा खलु पांडवै रन्नदी कैवर्तका केशवा पाराशरे वत्सरोजमलं गीता अर्थगंधोटकम नानाख्यानक केसरम हरिकथा संबोधन अबोधितम लोके सज्जन पदरहः एपिये मानम मुदा भूयाद भारत पंकजम कलिमल प्रध्वंसे न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुम लंघ्यते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानंद माधवम् यम ब्रह्म वरुण इंद्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्ये स्तवे वेदै सांग पद क्रमोपनिषदे गायन्ति यम सामगा ध्यानवस्थे तद्गतेन मनसः पश्यन्ति यम योगिनो यस्यन्तं न विदुषुर असुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. So chapter 13, Kshetar Kshetragya Vibhag Yoga. And I told you last time, this is the chapter where first verse is missing from your books. And in that first verse is where Arjun is asking the question and Lord Krishna is answering those questions. And let me repeat that question again. He's asking about these technical terms. He says Prakriti and Purusha. Also the field and the knower of the field. Kshetar, Kshetragya. Knowledge and that which ought to be known. These I wish to learn, O Keshav. Okay, so this is a question. So we are on verse number 4 today. Lord Krishna says, Tat kshetram yat cha yadrik cha yadvikar yata cha yat sa cha yat prabhava cha yat smasen me shrinu. That means that. Kshetram, field. Yat means which. Yadrik, like. Yad vikar, what its modifications. Yata means where, yat means what. Second line, sa means he, cha means and, ya, who, yat prabhava, what his powers. Tat means that, samasen in brief. Me means from me, Shrinu means here. So Lord Krishna is saying what that field is. Of what nature it is. What are its modifications? Where it is? Also, who he is? And what his powers are? These hear from me in a brief. So in other words, first he is talking about the field, the kshetra. You see, Arjun asked this much question. See, questions are normally asked in a condensed form. And Guru always knows how much to explain it to the students. So that's why we see the questions are few and in a summary form. And most of the Bhagavad Gita is answering those questions to Arjun and to us. Okay? Arjun did not say modifications, Arjun did not say nature, but Lord Krishna knew in order to explain it fully, I'll have to expand the answer. So of what nature? That means what are its properties? And where is that? Meaning what effects arise from what cause? That means what are the byproducts when it changes its form? And what is its origin? Who is he? The knowing principle in the field. He says, listen to all of this from me. Okay? There are lots of knowledges in this world. Lot of knowledges. Biology, psychology, physiology, those are all called natural sciences. They do help us in this world. But that knowledge without which we cannot know anything, that is called a spiritual knowledge. Knowledge of the spirit. So that's why this path of spirituality is also called the path of real knowledge. And this is the culmination and the fulfillment of our life. Okay? So they all have a place, the other sciences, the other knowledge. Because Arjun said, what I really need to know. So that's why Lord Krishna is talking about the spiritual knowledge. Now, Lord Krishna is not giving the answer in a way that which is illogical, or where he says that you just believe in it, otherwise there's no salvation for you. So look at it with the humility he is giving this knowledge to him. He says, Rishi bhi bahuda gitam, chando bhi vividha prithak, Brahma sutra pade che eva, hetu madhi vinishchatai. Rishi bhi, by rishis. Bahuda, many ways. Gitam, sang. Chando bhi, the chants. Vividhe, various. Prithak, distinctive. Brahma Sutra Padai. In the suggestive words indicative of Brahma. Brahma Sutra Padai. Cha means and, Ev means even, Hetu Madhi, full of reasoning. Vinishchitai, decisive. So Lord Krishna is saying, Rishis have sung. Sung what? About the field and the knower of the field, because that is the topic over here right now. So Rishis have sung in many ways, in various distinctive chants, also in the suggestive words indicative of Brahma, full of reason and decision. See, knowledge is for the intellect. And knowledge is appealing to the intellect when it's expressed with precision and clarity. And there has to be a substantial logic behind it too. And it must be confirmed on the basis of certain authority. And authority is the Vedas. So for validating spiritual knowledge is the Vedas. That's why Vedas are called Apurusha. They are not created by any person. In Manu Samriti, it's said, Bhutam Bhavyam Bhavishyam Cha Sarvam Vedat Parasiddhyati. That means any spiritual principle must be validated on the authority of the Vedas. So final authority is the Vedas. So that's why Lord Krishna is mentioning over here the Chandobhi Brahma Sutra Padai. So rishis have sung about the field and the knower of the field in many ways, in various distinctive chants, and also in the suggestive words indicative of Brahm, full of reason and decision. Hetu Madhi Vinishchatai. So in short, the subject matter we are dealing with here is the very theme which the Upanishads have indicated in their sacred Vedas. Passages from the Brahma Sutra also. And why should we so readily accept the Upanishads and the Vedas? Or the statements made by the rishis in the Upanishads? Because those declarations are full of reasoning and they are very convincing. That's why. So Lord Krishna says, what I'm going to tell you is in line with that. When a truth is declared, along with the logical reasoning, and we arrive at the conclusion, this is acceptable by the intelligent students by the sheer force of its appeal. So we don't have to force it upon anybody because of the reason behind it. Intellectual person, intelligent person says, yes, it makes sense to me. And now Arjun is prepared to listen attentively because Lord Krishna just are saying it so clearly, what I'm going to tell you, the discourse about the field and the knower of the field. So now first he talks about the field. He says, Mahabhutani ahankara, buddhi avyaktam evacha, indriyani dash ekam cha, panchacha indriye gocharaha. Mahabhutani, the great elements, Mahabhut, ahankar, egoism, buddhi, intellect, avyaktam. Avyakt is mool prakriti or the unmanifested prakriti. So prakriti in the unmanifested form. Mool prakriti means the root of the prakriti. Ev means even, cha means and. Indriyani, the senses. Dash, 10. So 10 senses. Ekam means one. And this one is referring to mind. Panch is 5. Indriye gocharaha. Objects of senses. Where the senses roam. Where do the senses roam? In the sense objects. Okay. So objects of senses. So the great elements, egoism, intellect, and also the mool prakriti, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, the one mind, and the 5 objects of the senses. Continuation of this in verse number 7. Ichha, dvesha, sukham, dukham, sanghata, chetna, dhriti, etat kshetram samasena, savikaram, udahritam. Ichha, desire. Dvesh, hatred. Sukham, pleasure. Dukham, pain. Sanghataha, the aggregate. This aggregate means the body. Chetna, consciousness, like intelligence. Dhriti, the will or the fortitude. Etat means this. Kshetram field. Samasen composed of. Savikaram with modifications. Udahritam has been described. Desire, hatred, pleasure, pain, aggregate, the body. Intelligence, fortitude, this kshetra has been briefly described with its modifications. So verse 6 and verse 7. Together, this is a field. This is a kshetra. Okay, kshetra and its modifications. See, like hatred and the desire and the pleasure and the pain, those are all modifications in the mind. So these two verses enumerate the various items together constituting the kshetra, the field. And this is what he called in verse 2 in your book, idam shariram. This is called idam shariram, this is sharir, this body. So I'm sure with all these terms you are familiar with. Mahabhut, they are 5 in number. We should know these 5 Mahabhut. They are space, air, fire, water, and earth. From the subtlest to the grossest. 5 in number. They are the rudimentary elements. And out of the combination of these great elements, when he says Indriya Gochara, so these great elements, they are the one later on become these Indriyas also. Okay, so even the Tan Matras and the Indriya, so made up of these 5 elements. So that's why they are called Panch Mahabhut, great elements. So everything comes out of it by the combination, permutation, and we often talk about that also when we study the Upanishads, how this permutation happened between these Panchbhut. But over here, Lord Krishna is basically talking about these 5 elements. Then he says egoism. The sense of I-ness, mine-ness that arises in us in our identifications with the world of objects, that is called ego. I-ness and mine-ness. So when we identify with the field, when we identify, when I is identified with the knower of the field, that is different. When we identify with the world of the objects, that is the ego. Buddhi, the intellect. Intellect is what? Determining faculty. Sometimes we think rationally, sometimes we think irrationally. We judge, we form conclusions. Sometimes bad judgment, sometimes good judgment. Sometimes right decision, sometimes not right decision. That all happens because of the intellect. Every experience of a living, when we experience something, there is a judgment behind it. I'm enjoying this life. Who comes up with this conclusion? The intellect does. That's also part of the field. Then he says, unmanifested avyaktaha. In the common language, this avyakt is the vasanas. The impressions left over in the mental equipment as a result of our conscious enjoyment of the world outside. Or sometimes a pain also from the experiences. Whenever there is an impression left, that impression is left in the chit, that is called a vasana. Vasana. Okay, and that is a avyakta. That's an unmanifested prakriti. Mool prakriti, because of the vasanas, the kind of a vasanas we have, the similar kind of a desires will have. Vasanas are considered the great grandfather of our actions. They are in the root form. Then the desires, then the thoughts, then the actions. They are all connected. But that's all part of the prakriti, or that's all part of the field according to this terminology. Okay? The source of all individual activities is the residual vasanas in the individual. Always remember that. And our job is over here. What is our duty? What are we supposed to do? Clean these vasanas, reduce these vasanas, lower these vasanas in this prakriti. Okay? They say the total vasanas is the mool prakriti in this sansar. The same total vasanas by the Vedantis, it's called the Maya. Sometimes when we use the word Maya, that is a total vasanas too. Okay, in unmanifested form. So the supreme functioning through Maya is the creator of the total universe. So it's like in totality also there is a mool prakriti. Then there's a mool prakriti individually also. So whether we talk about the macrocosm or the microcosm, there is a vasana in its aggregate or it's at an individual level. So that's why it's unmanifested. Then comes the 10 senses, the 5 sense organs of perception and the 5 sense organs of action. As human beings, we are talking about, not other beings. As human beings, we have been given these 10. These are the very valuable indriyas which we have, if we use them properly. And mind, so mind keeps on receiving the stimulus from outside, and it will absorb, and then the chit, the deeper part of the mind, that's where the vasanas reside. Like a total mind he's talking about over here. And 5 objects of senses. Objects of senses. Eyes can see, that is the object. Ears can hear. Tongue can taste. Nose can smell. And skin can feel the touch. So those objects which are connected with these sense objects, or the sense perceptions he's talking about, these are the objects. So 5 objects of the senses. Altogether, there are 24 now, if you look at it. Panch Mahabhut, Panch Tan Matra, Panch, 5 working senses, 5 knowledge senses, and 4 Man Buddhi Chitta Ahankar. So altogether there are 24. Okay. So the 24 factors.
Please एक बार repeat कर दीजिए.
Panch Mahabhut, right? And Mahabhuts are earth, water, fire, air, and space. Panch Mahabhut. And then Panch Tan Matra. Taste, touch, smell, sight, and sound. Okay, Panch Tan Matra, they are called. 5 working senses: voice, hands, legs, genitals, and anus. These are the 5 working senses. Karmendriya. And 5 knowledge senses:
एक बार ये दोबारा रिपीट करिए. वॉइस, हैंड,
voice, hands, legs, genitals, and anus. These are the Karamendriya. They do the Karam. And then 5 knowledge senses: ears, eyes, tongue, skin, and nose. So Gyan Indriya, Karam Indriya, Tan Matra, Panchabhut, right? Then ego, Man, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankar, those 4.
एक बार ये नॉलेज वाली और बोल दीजिए. नॉलेज सेंसेस, ईयर, आईज,
Ears, eyes, tongue, skin, nose. Always remember the knowledge, Gyan Indriya, that's where the information is going in. That those are like a apertures for the input. Action organs are the apertures or the organs to act out. The kind of knowledge we put in, the similar kind of action will do. That's why it's very, very critical to watch where our sense organs are going. What are they doing? Are they creating a mischief for us? Okay. Am I smelling something which will create a problem for me later on? That's why in the temples, they just make sure that everything is so pleasing and all the senses, they are drawing only the divinity in. The beautiful deities to look at, beautiful fragrance to smell. Even now when we smell some incense, where does our mind go? Towards the temple. Beautiful prasad to eat, what charnamat to drink for our taste. Beautiful mantras to hear. If there's no mantra, at least that bell which we ring when we enter the temple, that bell itself takes our mind towards the divinity. So all those 5 senses, they can either go towards the divinity or they can go towards the worldly things. So very powerful instruments God has given it to us. So then he says, see, basically what he's telling us that not only the gross body, mind and intellect, but even the perceptions, the experience through them, the world of objects, the emotions, the thoughts, they are all included in this kshetra. Idam shariram. Because normally we think that sharir is only this physical body. But Lord Krishna has really expanded it for us that this is the sharir. That's why other rishis, they called it a gross body, the subtle body, the causal body. Causal body is what? The vasanas, the unmanifested, the mool prakriti, that is the causal body. And then man buddhi chit ahankar, that is the subtle body. And from the subtle body, from the man, all those desires, all those emotions which come, that's all part of the subtle body, but still it is a sharir. It is a field. It's not the knower of the field. It's a field. Sometimes we get very confused with the desires. We think the desires are coming from the Atma. Desire is just a function of our mind and the intellect. And what happens with the desire? Desire creates a longing, which Sanskrit we call it akanksha. creates a longing for the acquisition of that object, situation, or a person, etc. That's a desire. That has nothing to do with the Atma, the knower of the field. That has to do with the mind and the intellect. That's why Lord Krishna said the desire itself, if it's not controlled, if it's not purified, that can become a doorway to hell. Narak dwar. Right? Kam, Krodh, Moh, Lobh. All of that. So the entire, yes, Kim?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is such a dense chapter, so I just wanted to ask a question before we move on.
Sure.
Thank you. When you explain the vasanas exist in aggregate and the individual level, is the aggregate referring to like the group consciousness?
Yes, yes, that is the group consciousness. That's right, the group karmas. There's a reason that we are here together going through this COVID. It's a group consciousness and the group karmas. Group karmas has a lot of potential to get out of it too, and group consciousness can drown us too. Okay, so there are individual karmas and individual consciousness, and there's a group karma and the group consciousness. Both are functioning. We get the benefit from the group consciousness also, and we get thwarted by it too. But we got to know this. So idam shariram. Okay.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned the byproducts when it changes form. Can you please explain what are the byproducts?
Byproducts means it's just like a desire. It's a byproduct of the mind. So in that sense, he is talking about the byproducts.
I see.
Because otherwise, body is just a body. But there are a lot of byproducts of this body. When we feel happy or when we feel unhappy, that's a byproduct of the mind with the desires in it. Okay. So in that sense, it's a byproduct of this sharir, this field. Okay.
Thank you.
So the entire world of objects is indicated by Lord Krishna in this phrase when he says this body. Objects, not the subject. See, there's a difference between a subject and the object. So entire field of the objects is this body, idam shariram. Yeah? And what is a subject? That's why they say that we got to have a subjective experience. And subject is what? Which is not the object. And in us, what is that? The Atma.
So is the Atma the witness?
Yes, Atma is the witness. Atma is the subject. Okay. And everything else other than Atma is an object. And that's what the Sharir is. Okay.
So the Mool Prakriti is sort of driving everything in our...
But Mool Prakriti is driving, but Mool Prakriti is still the part of the Sharir.
Right. But I mean, if you can, the whole purpose of our quest is to examine the Mool Prakriti in us, right?
Exactly. That's why the very second verse in Yoga Sutras, when Rishi Patanjali defined what yoga is, yoga is Chit Vritti Nirodha.
So the Chit is the Mool Prakriti.
Chit Vritti. In the Chit, the Vritti is the fluctuations. That is also because of the Mool Prakriti.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Because it is the subtlest of the personality, which in science they also call it a subconsciousness. There's a conscious mind, there's a subconscious mind. as a yoga practitioner, we are supposed to take care of this body, but we don't want to just leave our practice at that point. We got to dig a little deeper.
So what about the unconscious then, mind?
Unconscious mind is just a tamsikta.
Okay.
Okay. So yogis, they don't talk about unconscious. They say that unconscious mind is an obstacle.
Okay.
Okay. We want to be conscious about the mind, but then we got to know what this mind is and what do I need to do? Because in order to be successful in this outer world also, we need the mind. In order to be successful in this journey to attain that highest, we should know what this mind is and how to use it for that also. We don't want to stay unconscious about it. We want to stay conscious, and we want to see that consciously what I'm perceiving, what I'm seeing, what is going in me, and what is already there, what do I do with it?
So just to clarify, with the
Mhm.
unconscious, in the unconscious state, you can neither sense anything nor do anything. So that's that's really incompatible with.
That's incompatible with the sadhana, and we don't want to stay in that state. That's why I said that's a tamsikta, that's a darkness. And that's a living this beautiful life sleepingly. That's a unconscious. We want to be awakened. Okay.
So you could be both figuratively, I mean, like, say, medically unconscious, and actually unconscious of yourself.
Yes.
Of the powers within you. So that
yes, you can be unconscious about this. Yeah, where the energy is coming from. You could be unconscious about that.
And so that then you would just be a reactive mind-body complex.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so that's why I said that's a tamsikta.
Gotcha.
And as a human being, we don't want to stay in a dark. We want to make sure that we rise up.
So
Tamsikta and Rajsikta, sure, Rajsikta helps us to achieve worldly success. But Satvikta helps us to achieve worldly success at the same time, peaceful mind also. Eternal bliss also. Knowledge about this and knowledge about that also. Satvikta. But then that Satvikta, when we reach to the climax of that, we know that Satvikta is also part of the nature. That's an object. I want to experience subjectively who I am. So that's why the knowable is labeled as the field, kshetra, and the knowing principle, functioning as the knower, is kshetragya, and that is the subject. So all this kshetra, complete kshetra, is object. And we are all combination of these two, subject and object.
Could you please
But we have forgotten.
Parashji, could you please repeat that? The knowable.
Knowable means something to be known. Knowable is labeled as a field.
Is labeled as field.
Kshetra, which Arjuna asked that question, what is a kshetra? Kshetra is knowable. And the knowing principle, who knows this? Functioning as the knower, kshetragya, is the subject.
So could you say the non-self-aware person is the one who is the one that's figuratively unconscious and ignorant and tamasic?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I hate to belabor the point, but I'm just
no, that's fine. Just like Kim said, that it's a very dense subject, and in this class especially, the way we learn in ashram live classes also, we want to understand it. We just don't want to only memorize. and know how to read the Sanskrit, it should make sense, definitely. As long as the dialogue is about what we are studying, there's nothing wrong. We can just do only one. There have been many classes where we did only one verse, and that is perfectly fine. Yes, Kim.
Urmila has a question.
Urmil? Yes,
Hi.
Urmil.
I thought I knew it, but I'm got more confused. The field of activity of this body goes through modifications, and it has 6 transformations. Now, I got modification is different from transformations.
No, to me, I think sometimes when it modifies, it's just modifying. A word is used for all the vikars. Anything can be modified. Transformation, when we talk about transformation, happens with the help of the knowledge.
Okay.
That's why they say that with the help of, when we study Bhagavad Gita, transformation has to be there.
So when they say transformation, and the 6 transformations are consciousness, desire, aversion, happiness, miseries, and determination. That means with knowledge, these transformations through the field of the activity, there are changes in the consciousness, desire, aversion, happiness, misery, and determination.
Yes. 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 Okay.
So instead of writing both, it has modification and it has 6 transformations. How do I make it more clear? The field of activity of this body goes through knowledge, goes through transformations.
Yeah. Through knowledge, transformation.
Through knowledge.
Okay? Through knowledge. Knowledge is needed to transform.
So the catalyst is the knowledge.
Modifications are happening even in an ignorant person. But with the help of the knowledge, transformation happens.
Okay, it goes through 6 transformations.
Yeah.
And these are blah, blah, blah. So the field of activity of this body goes through knowledge, goes through 6 transformations. Goes through transformations with the help of knowledge. Okay.
Yeah.
So I couldn't understand modification and transformation in the same breath.
Yeah.
And what was causing it? Knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. Self-knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to gain knowledge of the kshetra and kshetragya, the field and the know of the field, is not merely an intellectual exercise. Lord Krishna talks about again and again purification. Purification of the heart. That's why in the previous section of Bhagavad Gita, the devotion is really a purification. You remember all those qualities we need to cultivate as a devotee? Purification. So transformation will happen not just with the intellect, with the purification also. Okay? And we'll see that in the next 4 verses, they will describe the virtues, the habits, the behaviors, and the attitudes that purify our life and really illuminate the light of knowledge within, which Urmil called it transformation. Or some people even call it a self-realization. It's the same thing. Or even self-actualization. We have heard those words, but definitely there has to be a process though. So now let's look at number 8. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, arjvam, acharya, upasanam, shocham, satharyam, atam, vinigraha. Amanitvam, humility, humbleness. Adambhitvam, freedom from hypocrisy or unpretentiousness. No dambh. Dambh is when we pretend to be better than what we are. Ahimsa, non-violence, non-injury. Kshanti, forgiveness. Arjvam is a simplicity or uprightness. arjvam. Acharya upasanam, service to the teacher, guru. Shaucham, purity. Satharyam, steadiness. Atam vinigraha, self-control. Okay, so this is the first verse of these set of four verses where he is teaching us, telling us how we can purify our mind, our heart. So humility, unpretentiousness, non-injury, forgiveness, uprightness, service to the teacher, purity, steadfastness, self-control. So these are called moral qualities also, and ascetic practices also. They are conducive for our spiritual awakening. So humility. Opposite of humility is what? Pride. What does pride do? Pride results in a distancing our consciousness from God. We even think that we are better than God, or we want to dictate God. Pride does that. Okay, it's a big obstacle on the path of self-realization or self-transformation. Sometimes when we have been extremely successful in certain area in life, we become very proud of ourselves. That's why it's very important to watch for it. That's why having a guru in our life, because guru is always a lot more than us, knows more, like at the knowledge level also, but still guru is humble also. Have you seen a picture of our Guruji in the temple, in the altar at the ashram, on that round table in the front, that oval table? That picture itself is like a true picture where the humility in that personality you can even see in the picture, and that's how his life was. The way he used to do pranam to his Guruji. Oh, Mike wants to show this, but Mike, I think on the Kim took a picture of that picture.
Okay, I don't know if you can see.
No, I don't think we can see. No. Kim took a picture. Kim, I'm talking about the picture which you said it's so beautiful. And you, okay, take that stuff down. Okay, so humility. So that is one of the benefit of having a guru. We see the humility in a guru and we say, Guru knows so much. We don't even know a little portion of that. How can we become arrogant? So humility comes. Okay, it's very important part. Otherwise, it's a big obstacle. We read about it in the scriptures also, in the history also. A lot of great people, successful people, because of the arrogance, their downfall happened. They fell on their face, literally. Unpretentiousness, adambhitvam. It's like a freedom from a hypocrisy. What happens to a hypocrite? Hypocrite develops an artificial external personality. That's a hypocrite. You are not truthful, but you want others to think you are so truthful. There's a hypocrisy. External display of the virtues is very hollow and it's skin deep and it's very hurtful on this progress. Okay, so that's why Lord Krishna said, adambhitvam, adambh. So dambh is a hypocrisy, adambh means unpretentious. Non-injury, we talk about it all the time, to any living being. I think Kim is showing that picture to us, right, Kim? You did
Yeah.
that? Okay. All right. How do I get out of it now? Oh, okay. Thank you, Kim. See, we got a tech savvy over here. She showed that picture to all of us. So, did you guys see that? I mean, I'm sure you have noticed it, but how, I mean, it's just like a humility is oozing out from that personality. And that's how his life was always. Not only in the picture, he's not posing for that. Okay. So, non injury to any living being, mainly by our own vicious intentions and feelings, not just actions alone. Sometimes we think we don't hit anybody, we don't call names to anybody, we are following the path of ahimsa, our feelings. That's very important too. Our intentions. Okay, we got to, because we are working on the deeper part of our mind. So that's why these qualities got to be at the deep level too. We are not talking about the physical transformation. Then forgiveness. Forgiveness is associated with patience also. A patient person will be a forgiving person. Capacity to suffer long without being upset. You realize that negativity is an enemy. Okay? And uprightness, arjuvam, simplicity, that comes to a person who harmonizes thoughts, words, and deeds, who is intent on right conduct. That is a arjuvam. Whatever you say, that's what you're thinking and that's what you're doing also. Arjuvam, straightforwardness. Nobody likes a person who is not straightforward. Normally, all these qualities, if we go against them and if we see it in somebody else, we don't like that person. Nobody likes these non-virtues. So that's why the scriptures, they state, Atmana pratikulani parishamna samacharet. If you dislike a certain behavior, so it's not just only looking outside that they have that behavior. Sure, we should not judge, but there are certain things we do not like. We are not judging, but we are noticing. But effect of that should be that we should clean our own behavior. Okay. Service to the teacher. Real service to the teacher is, this morning I was listening to Guruji's tape. He said, real service is follow the teachings of your teacher. That's a real service. If we are following what teacher is teaching us, we are serving our teacher. Sure, there are other way we can serve our teacher also, but that is the main. If we are not following the teachings of our teacher, then anything else we do, it is superficial. Because the teachers or the gurus' only motive is to remove the darkness, the ignorance in the students. And that ignorance can be removed only when we follow the teachings of the teacher. So that's why the real service is, are we following or are we just only touching the feet of our teacher? Got to remember that. Attitude of dedication and devotion towards our teacher, definitely that will help us to follow the teachings. The next one is purity, shaucham. There is a Shandalya Upanishad which says, shaucham nam dvividham bahe antram cha iti. That means there are two types of cleanliness, internal as well as external. So we need to make sure that externally we are clean and internally we are clean. That doesn't mean that outside of our house and inside of our house. That means outside of this body also, sure, houses should be clean too. We don't want to live in a dirty place and get sick. But this body, outside, inside, then mind also, our behavior also, and our thoughts also. So cleanliness everywhere. So our thoughts, physical structure, our dress, our belongings. So there should be cleanliness. Environment should be clean. But our emotions, our thoughts, that should be clean too. And the next one is a steadfastness. Steadfastness. See, satharium, that is steadfastness. Consistency of purpose and concentration of all efforts towards achieving that goal. Steadiness has to be there. Because we know that spiritual goal cannot be achieved just like this. It takes time. That's why they say the God realization and self-knowledge, which are not goals that are attainable in a day. So that's why steadfastness is needed. We got to be persistent to remain on the path until the goal is reached. So it's not a one day or 1 week or even one lifetime. It's okay. We got to just consistently work on these virtues. Okay. And steadfastness is also where we are working on we are restraining our senses. We are controlling our mind. The mind which likes to run into the mundane pleasures and gets dirty. Our intellect just keeps on fluctuating. We got to stay steadfastness on this path. Okay. So that's why the self-control prevents the dissipation of the personality through indulgence. Indulgence. Okay. Is it almost 11:30?
Yes.
Gosh, somehow Sundays 1 hour is very short. I have noticed. So we can stop it here and then continue with verse number 9, 10, and other verses next week. But remember today what we learned, that all the practice which we do also, that is for the body also, for the mind also, for the intellect also, for the ego also, all the practices we do, that is we are doing it at the sharir level, idam sharira, the field, not for the atma. The knower of the field is clean. We are not cleaning the spirit or the soul. By definition, we cannot clean it. It's because it's already clean. How can we clean something which is pristine clean? So all the practices are about this sharir. Physical body, subtle body, causal body. That's the sadhana we need to do. And sadhana with a proper knowledge, steadfastness, keeping the goal in mind. Okay, so we'll stop the class here and start with the answering the questions and then going into verse number 9. So anybody has any question before we do little chanting? No? Okay. Manny, can you play something so that we
Yes.
can do little meditation, couple of minutes? If you are looking for it, let's just say the Shanti part also. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasheshyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om.
Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you very much, Mani. That was beautiful. So,
Can Maniji send us this little track that he plays? It's really very nice.
Sure, Sujata, no problem.
Yes, I would love to receive the recording as well, Maniji.
I'll send the email to all of my friends here so they all have it.
thank you. Thank you, Mani.
Thank you.
That's very nice.
Thank you.
Well,
How are you doing, Maniji?
Good progress happening. It's almost 9 days now. Data surgery. I'm walking with a little cane. Okay, so and it's getting better.
Comfortable?
Yeah.
You're looking good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maniji, was it your hip